This is Jake and Joshua, where we sound off on some of the biggest topics in Big Ten football. And let's start it off with your alma mater, Michigan. J.J. McCarthy got the start, and he was near flawless. Now, let me say this, and this is not a disparagement of J.J. McCarthy whatsoever. My expectations of him were high. You're a team who won the Big Ten last year. You went to the college football playoff. When you see Clemson breaking in a new quarterback, Ohio State, Alabama, some of these schools, the expectation is when they play a team like Hawaii, you go down there and you do all of the things right. And that's exactly what he did. So from this start, I saw two passes specifically that I thought were great. Rolling out to the left on the move, put it on the sideline for a touchdown, then you get into the red zone, got to fit it into a window, perfect ball placement. Outside of that for me, didn't learn very much about J.J. McCarthy. Again, this is not a disparagement. I want to see the guy go out there when it's a critical situation, the pressure's in your face, you got to deliver an accurate strike. For what he did, this was phenomenal, 100%. The kid is sensational. I knew he was going to be like this. Now I want to see it in crunch time.
Well, you're right. I mean, you're not going to go into a game against Hawaii and say, hey, we know how JJ is going to react in the fourth quarter on the road with the money on the line. But there is things that you can take away from the game. What you just mentioned, when he stepped up in the pocket, he's rolling left off schedule. He hit Cornelius Johnson in the end zone. That was not Cornelius's route. They had to, mix it a little bit.
Scramble drill.
Good scramble drill, good execution over a Hawaiian defender. That was accurate. The Ronnie Bell throw, the bang post on the goal line. That is not a read. That is, hey, it's single high safety. We're going to hit the post. We need it right on your face mask on time. Well, he checked all those boxes. What you also saw was the ability to affect defenses just by his threat to run the ball. The touchdown to Roman Wilson. Well, Hawaii committed both their safeties downhill to a spy, saying, hey, it's early down, first, second down. We know JJ might do a read option and pull it. Well, JJ then felt that and had Roman Wilson behind the defense, wide open. Okay, that's essentially routes first air. One other thing I saw, and it probably went over most people's heads, this was early in the game in the first quarter. They're marching down, about to score again. He has Luke Schoonmaker, his tight end, in kind of flexed out to the receivers, and he motions him down. Well, Luke was supposed to stop here on the left side of the offensive line because he was going to pull with the guard to lead the backup through the hole. Well, Luke came all the way across the formation.
Got to reset him.
JJ said, hey, Luke, you could see him say, Luke, pointed him back over there. So those are the things to me that are extremely encouraging for a young quarterback. What Cade did really, really well last year and what he's really great at is the pre-snap, understanding this complex Jim Harbaugh offense. He loves to shift, he loves to motion. For a young quarterback to be able to have a full understanding of the offense, those are the things you find out in this kind of game, and I'd say all those intangibles, he was really perfect.
But that was my expectation, though. And again, I think from a year of learning, and we saw him in real game action last year, that benefits your ability to go out there and confidently lead the offense. I knew that he could do that against a team like Hawaii, and I expect him to do that against Big Ten competition as well. The pre-snap stuff, we know he's a smart kid. We know he's very conscientious. It's just that now I want to see in those critical situations how he reacts, because everything is there. And this offense now is so wide open. I know you love to see it, but you mentioned that threat of a runner at quarterback. As a guy who played on defense, it's the worst thing that you can see, because now you can't commit to the run the way you want to try to stop Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards back there. Like, those are two guys where you say, we want to get a man advantage in the box. Well, now that's taken away because the quarterback is now your extra runner. And then the pass game, when you do that, you got so many weapons on the outside that you create one-on-one matchups. And so this is going to be a fun story to watch. I think JJ absolutely earned it. You feel bad for Cade in some ways because you felt like there was a lot of pressure on him in this situation, but it's the competition. That's the exact situation this program wants to be in, where you have two options and you roll with the best one, put yourself in the best position.
That's what Jim said too. Talking to him, he said, hey, we feel we have two starting quarterbacks. He compared it to the Bama National Championship team where they had Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Now, as far as Cade goes, it was frustrating. You could feel his frustration. Man, the offensive line was giving up pressures when Cade was in the game. That was frustrating to me. Now, he had the interception. I know he wants to have that back, but I just know he's a competitor. One more thing about JJ, and we were talking about this yesterday. Two completions can look completely different, right? If I'm coming across the middle right here on a dig route, and you put it on my back hip. I have to slow down, I have to stop, and I have to catch it right here, and now the defender closed the gaps and I get tackled. That's still a completion.
Sure.
But if I'm running across the middle and I'm sprinting and you put it out in front of me accurate, I can catch the ball without breaking stride, and now I turn it up. Both of them are completions, both of them are accurate, but that foot of difference in terms of accuracy adds another 10, 15, maybe even more yards at the end of your throw. So JJ was accurate, but within that accuracy, his ball placement was extremely elite, and that translates no matter the opponent.
Yeah.
You got to put that on tape, and he did.
I think you got to put it on tape, but I need to see it when you got the 260-pound defensive end barreling down your face, and that's a hard position for any quarterback to be in, but we have high expectations for J.J. McCarthy, no doubt. I want to flip it over to Nebraska real quick. Scott Frost is out as head coach over there now. When you evaluate this program, where they're at, what type of profile are you looking for in their next head coach?
Well, right now you kind of just have, you got a bunch of materials,
yes,
right? And you say, okay, we can build something with these materials, but it's unorganized. It just hasn't been able to come together. What you need is a strong leader, a strong voice, and a coach that's going to challenge these guys to start to play to their maximum potential, but also really prioritize the fundamentals, which has been, for me, the most disappointing thing for this Nebraska team. They've lost these games.
Yeah.
It's the discipline in the little things that you and I could talk about all day because these have been hammered into our heads over the years. You wonder where the message has been getting lost. As far as this season goes, Josh, you know, when adversity strikes, there's a fork in the road, right?
Sure.
You could sit there and say, hey guys, our coach is out, you know, we're not playing good, let's throw in the towel, the season's over. Or what you could do is say, hey, you know, we have nothing to lose anymore. Our back's against the wall. We know we haven't been playing good enough. We have some tough games coming up here. Let's just play loose, play free, and let's leave it out there. We can play better than what we've been playing. So, hey, let's see. Now this is an important thing for your locker room, too, to see who your leaders are, who can help get this locker room straightened out.
Yeah, you got the divergent paths there. I think that's a big deal. And Trev Alberts, the AD at Nebraska, talked about having a new voice in the locker room. I think that goes a long way in the short term. And from being around those guys, I know they have the leadership DNA in that locker room. I look at a guy like Garrett Nelson, who is a very strong leader, who really needs to embrace this opportunity to rally the troops there. But as you look at what the next head coach should be, I think you pointed to the organization aspect of it, and that stands out to me because every head coach has a system. I think some head coaches are more into the details than others are. They're very organized, they have set plans, and I think Nebraska needs to start off with that. But you also need somebody who's a recruiter, because Scott Frost did a pretty good job of bringing the talent in, whether that was out of high school or in the portal. And then you need a guy who is an elite developer of players. So that's a guy who can teach you all the fundamentals. That's a guy who can maximize the genetic potential of the players within that program. And I think that goes a long way. So this is a sad time in a lot of ways for Nebraska, but also a very exciting time where they get to start their new chapter, and I can't wait to see what it looks like.
I'll say this too. In terms of a desirable place for a coach to go, Nebraska has a lot of resources. They have enough resources to make a quality hire. They have a rich history of winning. They have a fan base that supports their program. So if I'm a head coach or a potential head coach, this is an attractive destination. You know, when my sophomore year, we dealt with a coaching change, and that's when we got Jim to come in. And yeah, losing sucked. Jim came in and challenged us, and we went through these 4-hour practices. Literally the maximum time you were allowed to be in the building. The entire time was dedicated to practice. I remember hour 3 mark, Jim would blow the air horn and bring us all up, and he told us straight up, he's like, hey, listen, we're doing these 4-hour practices because at this hour 3 mark, this is where you guys lost a lot of games. He's like, everybody says you want to win and you want to be a good player for the first 2 hours.
Right.
But in that 4th hour, when you're tired, people start to separate, and it's the truth starts to reveal itself. Then we know we can count on, who we can count on. So for whoever this next head coach is, and you're gonna have a season of sample size here as well, that's what you're gonna need to do, because just to bring it all back together, they have the resources and the capability to win.
It's the attention training. You got to get the guys all aligned in the same direction. Well, this was a fun one.
Been great.
Oh yeah, look at that. Old Buckeye and a Wolverine shaking hands. How about it? Jake and Joshua right here.